Let's go ahead now and calculate the bonus amount. The bonus amount is based on this scenario. So if an employee was hired before 1/1/2010, then that employee should receive 8% of the salary as a bonus. If it was in between these two dates, then you should receive 4%. If it is in between these two dates, you should receive 2%. And if it was hired after or on 1/1/2020, you should receive no bonus amount. Let's use the function named IFS. So that means we have more than one condition. And let's get help. And let's actually see an example. So I'm going to click help on this function. Let's say example 1. This is a familiar example. So we have letter grades A, B, C, D, F. And let's see the function, how it looks. Ifs, and the first condition is if A2, so the grade here in A2 is greater than 89, then it's an A. Otherwise, if A2 is greater than 79, so that means in between, so greater than 79 up to 89, then it's a B. Okay, so if it's 89, that's a B. And then we have from 69 to 79, that's a C. And then we have from 59 to 69, 59 exclusive, and that's a D. What if it's not any of this? So if it's not any of this, so that would be 58 or less. Then you don't have to put the condition anymore, so you would put the keyword true. So that means none of the previous conditions were true. And in that case, it will be up. So let's build our function. The first logical test, if the person was hired before 1/1/2010, hire date is right there. So let's click the hire date. So if that date is less than, and I'm going to click the date here, and I'm going to lock that date with F4 because it's in K2. So we move down. We don't want to become K3, K4. If that's true, then the amount, the bonus amount would be 8%. Click on 8% and lock it times the salary. I'm going to click the salary. Okay. What if it's not? What if the person was hired on January 1st, 2010 or after? So then we have the second condition. Again, we have to ask the second question. If the hire date was less than, so we are right here, hire before. And I'm going to click on 1/1/2015 and lock it. And in this case, we're going to have 4%, so lock it, of, that means times the salary. Let's see the third condition. What if the person was hired before 1/1/2020? So again, the hire date less than 1/1/2020 that we lock. And in that particular case, we're going to have 2%, so lock that one, times the salary. Okay, now we want to catch, maybe the person was hired after 1/1/2020. So we want to catch that case. If you don't put anything, and if the person was hired after, it will give you N/A, not available, so it will give you that error. We don't want to have that. So let's put true to catch all the cases, meaning greater than or equal to 1/1/2020. And in that case, we want to give no bonus amount. So we can simply type a 0. Let's say in this case, we have 6400. The person was hired in 2007, so that's before 2010. So it's 8%. 8% of 80,000, that's 6,400. Let's push OK. And let's bring it down. I'm going again to choose without formatting. And it looks like here we have that case when the person was hired in 2020 after January 1st or on January 1st. So that's 2020. Let's try now to come up with a formula that answers the question. Does the manager need to have the salary raised? How do we know that? We know that the manager should have a salary of at least 80,000. So let's go ahead and build the formula. The formula is if, so we have a question. Now the question is this. First we have to see if the employee is a manager, and then we have to see if the salary is less than 80,000. So basically we have two things. If salary is less than 80,000 and the person is a manager. So as you can see, the logical test should be within the AND function. So I'm going to type AND function. I'm going to open close parentheses as with any functions. And I will just click where I have the AND function in the formula bar. And as you can see, now we are in the AND function here. So what are the questions? Is this person a manager? So I click the title and I compare, so equals, and I'm going to use quotes, manager. I'm using quotes because this is just a word, a label. If I don't use quotes, then Excel expects to be something recognizable, like for example the name of a function. So if the person is a manager, and remember if the salary over here is less than what? 80,000. We have the number right there, and maybe we want to change it later. So let's push F4 to lock it because 80,000 is in F3 and doesn't move from there. So if you move down, you don't want to have F4, F5, you want to keep F3. Okay, so that's it. Those are the two conditions. Okay, what if it's true? So I want to go back to if, and if it's true, I want to put a message, and the message should be due for raise. Again, I have to use quotes, but if you use the function arguments and if you click out of the box, Excel puts for you those quotes, which is really awesome. Now, what if it's not true? Then it's not applicable, so I can just put NA. And again, I move out of the box, it puts NA, and as you can see, the first person, although it's a manager, the salary is exactly 80,000. So then we don't have to do anything. It has the minimum manager salary, everything is fine. So let's go ahead and push OK. And let's double click to bring it down. And be sure not to fill the formatting because we don't want to mess up the border.